Tell me about it. 18. I changed the graphic before I go live with these things, and I just go. And as the number comes down, I'm going 8. Really, 18 days. I mean, it's when I realize I fly out in a week and a half. It's absolutely ridiculous. But there we go. Okay. Hello there, everybody. Welcome along. I know it says Talking Con at the top, and I know it says cup of tea. Number one, I don't have a cup of tea. Number two, this isn't Talking Con. That's Sundays. We do that, and it's the full show. I mean, we just kind of started chatting with Brad and Lisa, to be honest. We haven't even said how long we're going to keep you for. How's half an hour sound?
Okay? Yeah, that's fine. I scheduled the whole day. I was like, I guess we're doing 24 hours with Leonard.
I can do that. I mean, let's put it this way. I did organize a panel for this year. I actually submitted for 2, but I got accepted for 1. Okay. All my guests kind of like filtered away and went ghost on me. And there was like one person that was willing to do the panel with me, and it was going to be me and Paul Cornell, and we both kind of like emailed to each other and said, the pair of us can talk endlessly for a good solid 45 minutes. I think we can do this. We went, no, that's not worthy for everybody to come along and just listen to us talk for 45 minutes.
We love the both of you. I think we would be thoroughly entertained.
Yeah, we would be entertained. And yeah, like I love the idea of like 24 hours. You do it for like a charity of some kind, and then you just talk gibberish for a whole day. I did
do a show where I just talked nonsense for like, I got to about an hour 45 and I started flagging, not gonna lie. Even the panel I did at my last San Diego, which was Miracle Man, and it was supposed to be myself and another writer, comics writer, who's a big Miracle Man fan. He dropped out for his own personal reasons. So it was just me for 45 minutes. And that is a lot of pressure.
Was Alan Moore?
Like a whole room just looking at me. And I'm just all like turning around saying, oh, and by the way, Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman, they don't know what they were talking about. It's fun and games. Welcome along, everybody. So, yeah, this is kind of like our impromptu kind of shows that we're doing. So like midweek. But as it happens, we're doing this one because this is when Brad and Lisa are available to talk to us. This is Brad and Lisa, everybody. Hello. Welcome along to the show. Comic Book Couples Counselling. Welcome to you. Tell you what, really quickly, potted history. Who's going to give it?
Okay.
Tell us who you are and how you got to here. Go on, give us a brief overview of who you are.
So I'm Lisa. This is Brad. We're Comic Book Couples Counseling. We are a podcast. We've been doing a podcast together for the last 5 years. We're a married couple. What we do is we pair self-help books with rad comic book couples, and we also talk to various creators, and we see comics as a gateway into ourselves. So any comic book that we are reading, what we're really looking for is us. And that's the angle that we think we bring to the comic book conversation space.
And how we got here is we've been longtime followers of Leonard. And yeah, and so when he asks us to do something, we show up.
You know, Leonard,
but on our own time.
Leonard, I was going through photographs of various Comic-Cons that Lisa and I have San Diego Comic-Cons that we've done over the years. And we've been
You're going to talk about one of my favorite photos. Go for it.
Maybe I am. I don't know if you know about this photo. Lisa and I have been going to Comic-Con since 2011. We haven't missed a single one. Except for like that weird Thanksgiving post-pandemic one. Yeah, we don't talk about it.
Not canon to us.
Not canon. Canon. But like in those early days is when I discovered you as an online presence, probably through Twitter. And at one point, I saw you at San Diego, but I didn't have the confidence to introduce myself. So I took a photo of you from a distance.
We have a creeper photo of you.
I should have it ready. I don't have it ready. But like, I think it's 2012 or 2013.
Yeah.
And there's like a photo of Leonard in the distance.
Oh, good Lord.
And I have a similar photo of Rick Baker.
Yeah. We got a lot of
want to see this photo. No, that wasn't the one I was thinking. I was thinking when our paths did cross on the exhibition floor. that was a cool moment.
That's not a creepy photo. That's like we now know who we are. We're comfortable talking.
Oh no, it's a creepy photo. I have a delightful habit of when I do take photos and selfies, I look like a rabbit that's been caught in a headlight. I've got a photo of me with Grant Morrison, and I seriously look like I am Mark Chapman. I'm that person who's going to sort of like in a week's time be in the headlines for a whole other set of reasons. I look so weird in those. Anyway, okay, that's a potted history, and not only that, but it's really interesting to hear about your take on sort of how you approach comics and comics blogging and sort of that kind of approach, because it's a really cool. I'm not going to say niche because it's just something that somebody hasn't thought of before, of a way of approaching comics and the relationship within comics. I think that's it. That's the thing that really draws people in. But it's evolved so much from that to both the pair of you doing. I mean, is it the pair of you that do panel hosting? I know you've done your own, so like your comic book couples counseling panel.
Yeah.
But when you've done panel hosting, who's the one that kind of leads the charge?
We do panels together. Lisa's done panels without me. I've done panels without her.
Cool.
We prefer to do it together because we
are codependent.
Yeah.
And we should really work on that.
Yeah. But yes, that is generally what we do. At New York Comic Con last year, the two of us moderated the IDW 40 years of Ninja Turtles publishing panel.
Oh,
and
yes.
That was a dream.
Tell you what, before we go any further then, number one, happy anniversary.
Yay, thank you. 15 years of marriage.
On that. And number two, the fact that you then, for your anniversary, headed off to the birthplace of the Turtles.
We did.
That's so rad. That's so cool.
It was such a fun trip. Because San Diego Comic-Con is coming up and we devoted so much vacation time to going to San Diego Comic-Con, we didn't have a lot of time to celebrate our anniversary, but we wanted to do something nifty. And in the past, we've gone to Graceland in Memphis, and we went to Bangor, Maine on our 10th wedding anniversary to do like the Stephen King walking tour. And we were trying to figure out like what we wanted to do for our 15th. We talked a little bit about possibly going to Cleveland while they're shooting Superman there. But that seemed like it would be too challenging to do in the limited amount of time that we had. So then we were like, well, let's go up to Dover, New Hampshire, to the birthplace of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. For the 40th anniversary, they put together a nice little landmark for tourists to take a look at. It's like a manhole cover, a decorative manhole cover that features the turtles from the first issue of the cover image of the turtles on a manhole cover. And
we did lay on a public sidewalk to get our picture with the manhole cover. And we were disappointed that it wasn't a functional manhole cover, because there was a functional one just a few feet away. And I was like, well, this could have been the thing, but that's okay. that one was in the middle of the street. But it's not a busy street. We would still lay in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Who is the big Turtles fan between the pair of you? Is it 50-50 or?
In terms of like duration, like Brad would have been the fan for longer.
I am older.
But with that bright white intensity, I think we're equal.
Yeah,
nice.
I think we're both big time Ninja Turtles fans. We've covered them a lot on the podcast. We've had one episode for every era of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We've both interviewed Kevin Eastman. We did one on the Saturday Morning Adventures era.
And
recently.
We've taken a lot of life lessons from them about like what family is, how to create like fraternity and trying to find your own identity within a family group. All of that is super interesting and important to us. And the Ninja Turtles have become like something of a symbol for us.
Yeah. And as like the podcast has evolved, like you were mentioning, we've taken the concept of comic book couples counseling and applied it to siblings. We've applied it to mothers and sons. We've applied it to fathers and sons.
We've applied it to Loki and himself.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So
that's so cool. A couple of comments coming in already. We've got Chuck Cook saying hello. Good morning from sunny San Diego. Good morning from incredibly grey and increasingly cool here in England. And Where I don't know, I'm not entirely sure where
It's
you're
the
based.
afternoon, I would say.
We haven't looked outside, so we have no idea what it's like in Virginia, but we're guessing it's hot.
It's been really, really hot and humid. If you've ever been to Northern Virginia in the summer, it is like walking inside a human mouth.
Yeah.
It is 98 degrees and wet.
We're either 25 minutes from Washington, D.C. or 2 hours, depending on traffic.
Well, the good news is with me coming to the US, the temperatures and weather, and it's all going to drop rapidly, very, very quickly for the 2 weeks that I'm actually in the country, because it just happens every single time. We all kind of, every time we land in the States, we always get sort of torrential rain, and everyone just turns around. Where the hell did this come from? Oh, hi, Leonard. So we kind of get all that. So yeah, it's on the way. Don't worry about it. Chuck is saying, hey, that weird Thanksgiving con was great.
We imagined that it was like, you know, like a parallel dimension. Like, yeah, you can go there and see things, but it's not the real thing, is it?
Like Lisa and I did have a very serious conversation about ditching our family and going to the Thanksgiving Comic-Con.
And frankly, my mother wouldn't forgive us.
So that's where we ended up. But we did miss it. We wish we had gone.
I just heard really good reports from it that everyone was just really eager for it. I went to the San Diego the following year, and that was the vibe that I got. It was everyone was just really relieved to be back, even though there wasn't the numbers. People were still a little on edge. And then last year, which I didn't go to, I was just hearing a very similar vibe, that it was just a case of, okay, the heat has come off San Diego, but the fandom is still there. So it's almost like a giant meetup of people who are just really grateful to be there.
Not to rub it in, Leonard, but I honestly, for Lisa and myself, it was maybe our favorite San Diego Comic-Con that we had. And it wasn't even necessarily because the attendance was down. It was just the relief to be back at San Diego, and things were ramping up. It was starting to feel a little bit more like Comic-Con of years past, and we just had the best time.
Yeah, and it was nice because we could really focus on the comics part of Comic-Con, because you know, we didn't have Marvel wasn't there, and the big studios weren't there, and I was like, maybe this is how we should always do it. Maybe it should always be a Comic-Con for us.
Yeah, because in the past we have been
those people who sleep on the sidewalk with their for 24 hours to get into the Marvel.
I can't judge. I've done it myself.
Yeah, we did it annually.
But last year we attended the Eisner Awards for the first time, and we found it to be like a really beautiful ceremony. I mean, it's not without its bugs.
I was about to ask. Okay, well, tell you what, let's get into San Diego Comic-Con and what your expectations are and what you're going to be getting up to. Attending the Eisners again this time around?
Oh,
yes.
What was the thing that you took away from that? Because I mean, Friday night, obviously, people have got their own plans. They've got parties to go to. They're either lining up outside. They've got Funko. Lots of distractions, and we're going to get into that in a minute as well, because the multiple facets of San Diego Comic-Con. But for the Eisners, I still think it is very much neglected and mislined. It's very much a nebulous kind of events, that it's very much the great and the good of the comics world in one room to do the Oscars of the comics world, but very few people go to this thing. I have been very lucky that I've been invited to the other side of the velvet rope by Jackie Estrada herself, a woman who I love dearly. So I got the suit on. I sat with Matt Dunford, and we snaffled as much of the food as we possibly could before someone stole the plate from us. But no, it was just such a great way to celebrate comics, which is what I really go to San Diego Comic-Con for. It's something that I dearly love, the fact that we have this ability to heap the rewards on the industry. What did you take away from the event, from your perspective, where you were sat? Did you feel like outsiders looking into a bubble?
Oh yeah, but we love that, right? Like we were in the first row of the little like press section, and so we got to watch everyone at their little round tables get excited. We could watch the lady in the red dress get progressively more relaxed as she walked back and forth from the drinks table?
We were next to the buffet table, and it is weird to be behind that rope. You can't cross it, and you go like, boy, that I'm starving.
And we preceded it by accidentally, like we had gone to a mixer before that I accidentally got way too drunk at. And so I was like, I could really use some food right now.
Yeah, Lisa was like pounding margaritas,
like
and she didn't
before.
realize how many margaritas she had had until we had to walk all the way across San Diego.
And I like, it was the kind where I wasn't a mess, but it was hilarious.
Nice.
Bordering on mess.
So,
It was an adorable mess.
We were hungry.
But
sorry for rubbing that in then. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But like you said, you know, it is an opportunity to celebrate the medium and the people who make these comics. And you know, the folks who do ultimately win and get their spotlight and get to speak to their peers from the stage, for a lot of them, it's extremely emotional, and we absorbed their emotions and it became emotional for us.
It also gives you kind of an insight into like the state of the medium, what people choose to talk about when they stand up at that mic, what they find important, what they want to use that platform for. Lots of in-jokes. Yeah, a lot. But lots of people talking about like what they find important about their process or you know,
and what's missing from the nominations, like who is missing from the nominations. You know, some folks use that opportunity to challenge the Eisner voting body.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think all that stuff is fantastic.
Super interesting, super admirable, and like we're never going to miss it again.
Yeah, and I think if you are like a very passionate comics lover, there is value to attending the Eisners. It was funny, like you were saying, you know, people tend to like dismiss it. And while we were at that mixer and we were talking to people who make comics themselves, and they're saying like, I can't possibly imagine spending 3 hours in that room watching people walk back and forth on that stage. And I understand that. I know like some people don't like the Academy Awards, don't like awards ceremonies in general. I mean, it is just the opinion of one small, tiny voting body. You know, it doesn't actually reflect the best of the best, but it is an opportunity for conversation, and it's an opportunity for reflection, and it's an opportunity to, you know, love on the industry.
Sure. Okay then. So like you say, it is a very disparate event, because the way I've talked about this on the Talking Con on a Sunday, that I feel that San Diego Comic-Con, and this is part of its appeal for me, is that it's multiple conventions happening at once. You've got your trade industry event down on the floor. You've got your cosplay convention, your massive collection of people taking photos, certainly out on the back balcony. You've got all of that happening. You've got your gaming convention. You've got your comics convention. You've also got your press convention, which if you've done as press, which I have done, for 1 year, I did actually just go all in on the press element of it. It's almost like a second event that runs alongside San Diego Comic-Con with roundtables, interviews, running around. I did try balancing it 1 year and try going as an attendee. In fact, no, I overdid it. I went as an attendee, a volunteer staff member, and as press. I cannot remember that year.
Yikes. Yeah, that's a lot.
Can't do it. I can't remember it. Where do you put your focus? Because you've obviously, like I say, been since 2011. You've been not only as nebulous podcasters, but also now going as press. And I'm guessing, are you paneling this time around?
It's not been announced.
It's not been announced, but we are moderating a panel
that we're really excited about.
Yeah. Which then begs the question, what is your con? Are you press? Are you attendee? Are you fan? Are you a fan or you're a pro?
I'm gonna see how.
Where do you feel?
I don't know. Like, I feel like the heart of who we are as human beings are enthusiasts for the medium of comics, and so there's definitely like the priorities of things that we always love to do.
we have because we've been going since 2011, I do feel like we have had very different cons experiences throughout that decade plus of time. Last year was the first time that we attended as press. We are attending this year again as press. So we will be doing interviews, we'll be doing roundtables, we'll be doing panels. That is a very different con than what we've done before. We've done cons where we spent most of our time in Hall H. The first time we got into Hall H, and we got, I think in the second year or third year, our buddy Darren slept 2 days outside and managed to get us front row at Hall H on a Friday.
Nice.
And that high of being that close in that room of
we chased
6,000,
that dragon for many years.
Yeah, we did. We tried to replicate that for like 5 years. And I think we had a great time doing that, but I also think we missed a lot of the other con experiences in chasing that front row dream.
You could even turn around and say that there's the Hall H con, and you do Hall H in that regard. It almost becomes a separate convention to itself as well.
Absolutely. And then what we would, on those years, we would take the Sunday and try to do like the exhibit floor. I think like attending it now as press, we have a more balanced experience, at least last year, than we had before.
Yeah. And it balanced, you mean in
we
what
see
we
more
do?
things. We experience more of the inside, the outside, the various little subcultures within the convention.
Yeah.
I think also
and we got to do more bin diving.
A
lot of shopping.
Well, you know what? That's the one thing I've not done at San Diego Comic-Con before. Purely, I think it's because there's just so much pressure to then spend so much money, and it's going out to the US already. It's an expensive proposition, and I end up sort of like looking at the bank balance as the days go on and thinking, am I going to actually have any money at the end of this? So I do kind of like stay away from that, because I know I could walk away very, very poor very, very quickly.
Mistakes have been made. We have left way too much money. But it's such a great time.
Yeah, we've had to FedEx things across the country because we bought too much in San Diego. That's happened multiple years. I love bin diving. I think, though, if you really want to buy comics at Comic-Con, you need to take an extra day and visit all the amazing comic book shops that are in San Diego, going to places like Now or Never, going to Kamikaze, going to Southern California Comics, because I've been told that sales sometimes dip at those shops during the convention because everybody's in the convention center. So you do find some amazing gems in those shops, and the shops tend to be pretty quiet.
How many days do you usually take in San Diego? Like when you go?
We would usually do 3 weeks. We're doing 2 this time, because we're wanting to spend a little bit of time with my family a little bit further down the year. But we'll be coming in on the Wednesday before. We'll have the weekend to catch up with everybody and meet up with friends, go out for exploration, do what I need to do to just kind of have a holiday at the end of the day. And then we get into con week and all of that whirlwind and palaver. And then we're going to have a couple of days, and then we fly back out on the Wednesday. So it's 2 weeks with the con right in the middle of it. Okay. Like I say, 3 weeks usually is what I usually do. And it's that week where we get to the Monday, I do a wrap-up show, and then the wife, Caroline, will take the phone and the laptop and the tab, anything off me, and just say, right, we are actually having a holiday for a week. All right?
That's so nice.
And I get told, and I get a beer shoved in my hand, and we just, you're relaxing now. I said, okay. Yes, miss. Sorry, miss. Yes. All right, miss. So that's how I'm going to be doing it. I mean, this year's been weird for me because I've got so many distractions here at home. It's a case of I'm not as planned as I have been in previous Comic-Con. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to attend the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund party, which I have been invited to. Beyond that, literally, I have no clue. Not a clue about what I'm going to do.
Our stuff is a little up in the air, too.
I'm finding it rather liberating, to be fair. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, we're doing Tuesday to Tuesday.
Right.
Getting a red eye out of San Diego, which Lisa loves. Lisa loves red eyes. That's all she wants is red eye flights.
I hate it so much.
And that we would love to take more time. The tricky thing for us this year that will not be interesting to anybody watching right now,
but we'll tell you
anyway, is that the week before Comic-Con, Lisa's family has this big every other year vacation where 16 people all gather in a house in the Outer Banks and just try to relax and enjoy each other's company.
Nice.
So we're going to be in the Merrier family vacation for a week. And then we're going to have 48 hours to do all our laundry, pack, get to San Diego, and then enjoy it, and then come back.
Yeah, it's going to be intense.
We're a little stressed about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Take that stress, put a bow around it, and drop it over there somewhere, and just
that
relax.
Is future me's problem.
Take a nice zen moment.
The thing is, we still want to release our weekly schedule of Comic Book Couples Counseling, which means we have to record 3 episodes this week.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're all going to be great though. They're not going to be at all harried.
Okay,
fair enough. I mean, we were chatting just before we came on air about panels and when they're going to get released and when we're going to find out about panels. Well, I mean, you were saying that it was this time last year. 2 weeks before. We're not quite there yet.
Oh, yeah.
So we're looking at Thursday the 11th through Sunday the 14th. That's when we're going to get panels officially announced. And that's when we're also going to find out whether this god-awful tease of Marvel coming back to Hall H, if that is the case, I put to you, Brad and Lisa, are you going to be making the effort to get into that room for the Saturday?
No.
She's shaking her head. She says no. So
I mean, and I'm not doing like you make it sound like the wife says no. So like that's not the case. Like we've talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
You have just it's been discussed.
Yeah, like I love the Marvel Studios panel at Comic-Con. We were there at the Tom Hiddleston in full Loki garb. We were right there, right when he was doing that, and it was such a thrilling moment.
We were there for the musicians for Black Panther, which was so beautiful,
which was really great.
Yeah,
and we go to Comic-Con with a large con family. We've got nearly 30 people, all our friends, and we met all those friends in the Hall H line.
Nice.
And we became like a little collective, and they're going to definitely be doing Hall H for Marvel because they love Marvel. And I feel like I'm a little like we've decided we're not going to do it because we do on Friday night want to go to the Eisners, right?
And we don't want to take advantage of these people who are staying out for us because we were.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I think we're just going to have to skip it now.
Unless we can somehow use our press connections to get in.
So,
we'll pull all of the strings available to us, but we might not have the strings.
Emails have been written.
Have you heard this before? I don't know if you might not have heard this. I have mentioned it on the Talking Con on the Sunday show. 1 year, and this was the year that James Gunn got cancelled, and there was a couple of losses as well, and there was an opportunity for me to talk to some press people that were lining up in one of the side doors to get into Hall H, and I was just because I was going to skip on the Saturday, simple as. At which point I was talking to them, and they went, "Well, why don't you just come in with us?" I said, "Well, what? Yeah, well, just come in when they open the doors for press. You've got a press pass, haven't you? Come in." At which point I then came in and I sat about 4 rows from the front and watched the WB panel. I watched a couple of them. I basically did a fair chunk of Saturday, and I felt that I hadn't earned it. Does that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hadn't put the hours in.
Yeah, I mean,
I hadn't.
Yes,
I hadn't been through the trenches to camp out overnight to get this seat, and I was sat there actually not enjoying it because I was like, I don't belong to be here.
Yeah,
everyone who has earned it who are sat behind me. And I felt, I mean, to be fair, I then had lots of people saying, don't hate the player, hate the game. At the end of the day, you are press, you have earned it. But I felt really kind of...
There is a certain amount of romance to camping out in line and putting the work in. There is something to that. And there is that sense of like, this is the cherry on the sundae.
Yeah. My feeling on the emotional experience you just shared with us is I've felt it. I understand that 100%. I do think though that if you do get access to Hall H through a press pass and you are covering a specific panel, you need to cover that panel.
Right.
Like,
that sense of responsibility of like, if you experience something, if you take up a chair that an attendee cannot use, then you owe the universe something for that. And that is an article. That
it's a job,
tweets,
right?
That is coverage.
It's coverage, yeah.
And again, it's the whole idea of it's a different con to everybody else.
As it should be.
Absolutely. Another thing that you guys do, which I absolutely adore and love, and like you say, you talk about the con family, the family that you weren't born with, but the family you have adopted, which is absolutely why I guarantee 60, 70, 80% of people go year after year to San Diego Comic-Con or to conventions because of the people and the relationships they've made. The screenings that you do and the family of fans that you have adopted to attend these screenings, and indeed, like you say, that you've met at conventions, your fans and your followers are so clearly incredibly dear to you. How do you then kind of get the time to talk and meet up with them as well? It's a whole other thing. It's another dragon to chase.
We make it. We make the time.
Yeah. San Diego, that's really hard.
It is hard.
And we did have, friends and folks that wanted time that we couldn't make. And, you just have to make it up to them. But like you do have to find a way to incorporate your community into your experience. And as you said, the community is the most exciting element of the experience. I mean, honestly, like you look back at Hall H and all the various panels that we've seen over the years, there are hallmarks like, Tom Hiddleston coming down from the sky. And I remember that very well. But then I know there was like a Silent Hill panel. Like there are so many panels that you actually do not remember because the panels themselves actually are not the draw. The draw is the energy of the Hall H room. The draw is the energy of that line and the people in that line, the people in these rooms. That's the biggest appeal.
Yeah.
In that town.
In that town, yeah.
Very much so. So, okay. It's great that you've been able to connect with your community of fans like that. Very quickly about the screenings, by the way. Just if you want to talk about that and how that came about, because that, even when you sort of like type about it or when you blog about it, you almost like can't believe that this opportunity has come about. It's so cool.
It is really, really fun. So about an hour and 15 minutes away from us, there is a really rad Alamo Draft House. And it is the Alamo Draft House Winchester, which is actually pretty historic in and of itself because it is the first Alamo franchise outside of Texas.
Nice.
And since it is a franchise, it's really had the room to really get their own identity. And so we have other Alamo Draft Houses that we do attend and they're super fun, but we really may make the trip to go to the Alamo Draft House Winchester because of what they've built there.
Yeah, the first Alamo Draft House Film Club came out of the Alamo Draft House in Winchester, Virginia.
That's right.
The brainchild of their programmer or their one-time programmer, Andy Geyerson. And we attended a film festival at the Alamo Draft House several years ago, and we became fast friends with Andy. And at the time, we had another podcast called In the Mouth of Dorkness, which we were doing with some of our San Diego Comic-Con friends, Brian Young and Darren Smith. And with that podcast, we got the opportunity to host some of the film club screenings. And then we got an entire series that we did for a couple years. And
then a global pandemic happened. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I'm aware.
But it really changed.
I'm aware of its work.
It really changed going to the movies for a while.
Yeah.
And
it changed the In the Mouth of Darkness podcast.
Right. So over the pandemic, comic book couples counseling kind of was growing. And we wanted to, but our film club series with ItMod kind of faded into the background. So after the pandemic, they wanted to kind of rebuild film club, and they wanted to create a separate track co-hosted with comic book couples counseling.
Yeah. So we screened comic book movies, and the first comic book movie we screened over a year ago was Howard the Duck, the obvious classic, the masterpiece, the first Marvel Comics theatrical movie. And we got Chip Zdarsky to do a virtual introduction, the writer of the Howard the Duck comic book, or one of the Howard the Duck comic books. And he did an amazing job. And ever since then, we've tried to find cool comic book creators, cool filmmakers. Guillermo del Toro did a virtual introduction for us when we screened Hellboy. Robert Townsend did a virtual introduction for us when we screened Meteor Man. Scott Snyder for Mask of the Phantasm. It's
super cool. And
it
is also co-sponsored by Four Color Fantasies, which is a super rad comic book store in Winchester, and so
is an institution. They've been selling comics for 30 plus years.
So the aim of our film club track is to turn people back to the books. So the tickets are generally $7, which is super amazing. And with that, you get an introduction from us, which is not a big deal. Who's excited about that? But then we also do trivia. There's giveaways after the movie. We like to hang out, talk about the movie. Four Color Fantasies is there selling comics. The great thing about Alamo Drafthouse in Winchester is the lobby is also a bar, so you can get a drink, hang out, and
it's very open. Like some Alamos you go to, the bar is like this tiny little
hole.
Hole.
Yeah.
This is the lobby, so
it's super fun. And like for us with comic book couples counseling, our mission is first and foremost, being, advocates for the medium. So this opportunity to perhaps create new comic book readers is just so cool. One of our favorites is we got to host a screening of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Brad and I were child free, which is a wonderful lifestyle. But we do forget that children exist. So we were hosting this screening, and so many kids showed up. And we're like, wow, this is wild. So we did our intro. Brad disappointed some children by telling them, like, no, your trivia is wrong. You cannot have a free comic book. But then afterwards, like every parent bought their kid a book, which was just so exciting.
Brilliant.
And and the idea that like at that screening, we created a little comic book fiend in our image, right? It's just like so cool.
So you just reminded me of my favorite memory from the screening, which was the Batman Mask of the Phantasm screening.
Yeah.
And there was a young girl who attended that screening. And at the end of that movie, when the Joker is like going off and they're having the fight and his tooth gets knocked out, this girl was terrified. She
was so scared.
She came out of that screening like
whimpering.
Comatose. And her mom brought her over to the Four Color Fantasies table and bought her some Batman comics to go like, look, Batman's
fine.
Batman's fine. Oh, that was the thing. She thought Batman had been really hurt in the course of the climax of Mask of the Phantasm. So the mom wanted to show that Batman's doing okay. He's living in these comic books. He's thriving. And here are some books for you to take home.
Here's a Batman book by Realm V. He's doing great.
So good.
Oh yeah, he's emotionally fine. Another thing about the screenings as well, which I found really cool. I only discovered this at Thought Bubble. Was it last year or year before? You get posters done by Mark Jackson.
Yeah, we did one time.
No,
twice.
We've done it 3 times.
Yeah,
we've done 3.
I was blown away by that. I went.
It is so cool.
It's expensive.
You guys are connected. That's amazing.
Yeah, and like those
fantastic.
commissions come out of our pocket.
Yeah.
So it's not only commissioning and paying Mark Jackson, it's paying to have them printed. And we want to do that more often, but for that to happen, we need more income.
Right.
So
but
Fair
that
enough.
is very cool.
Yeah.
And like anytime we can partner with an artist on anything,
Yeah.
we're always really excited.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And we always compensate them fairly.
Well, yeah.
As we should.
Understood and understandably. I'll let you get off, but I'll ask a couple of questions first just to kind of wrap things up, and especially as we are now barreling 18 days
Yikes!
to San Diego Comic-Con. So this actually came out of a conversation I had online this morning because somebody put online on Threads, it's a shame that Twitter, and I am going to continue to dead name it.
So do we. That's it. That's the only thing you're allowed to dead name.
Absolutely. With Twitter going the way it has done, where on earth? I mean, I remember going around San Diego Comic-Con at its absolute peak, this prior to Musk, and everyone was glued to their phones to find the next biggest thing that's happening in San Diego. Where should people go? Real FOMO going off with everybody glued to their phones. What are you going to be doing in terms of your social media, and how are you going to keep people up to date this time around? Because I know you are on the old Threads, which I am going to I'll bring up on screen right now. But you're also on Blue Sky. You're on Facebook. Where are you finding your voice online, especially when it comes to the actual show itself?
Real talk, like Twitter is still where we get the most engagement, which we tend our garden there. We use the mute button. We block people all of the time. And Twitter, in terms of just growing our community, has done really wonderful things. And despite the disgusting underbelly and overbelly and all of the bellies, like, despite the ugliness there, we've still managed to connect with some really beautiful people.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed over the last few years. It's slowed down a little bit, but we still get
we're still growing there.
Yeah, like 100 new followers a month on Twitter.
That being said, we do post and repost in so many other places.
Yeah,
and we would love any one of these places to catch fire.
Now, to your question, though, of like, where is the most of our social media presence going to be during San Diego Comic-Con? The most of it's going to be on Twitter and Instagram.
Right.
We will be posting
I
on
remember
Threads.
the comments from the unofficial blog saying, well, to be fair, we don't really post anywhere. I mean, we do Twitter for updates, but everywhere else, everyone's busy. Everyone's all like out and about doing cons. So our traffic, certainly from like the Wednesday and the Thursday of the actual con show, it just tanks because everyone's busy.
Yeah, we'll be posting on
every hour.
I don't know about every hour, but we'll be posting a lot on Twitter and Instagram. I will be.
Lisa's just like, no, every hour. And Brad's going,
we're pressed. We have responsibilities.
like we're going to be posting constantly on Twitter and Instagram, as we always do. We're both glued to our phones throughout the year, but even more so during San Diego Comic-Con. We would love more people to find our threads. Like, make Threads our primary social media. Make Blue Sky our primary social media. We would love that.
Scroll back up for a second.
Go for it. Which one?
So go to the very top two are stickers. Where comics are for lovers.
Trust me, I was coming back to them. I was on it.
We literally just sent these to be printed for San Diego Comic-Con. We were going to have our usual Comics Are My Love Language stickers in both the plain and the shiny, but these are our newest stickers. These are designed by Elliot Comic Art on all the social medias, and these are so freaking cute.
They are amazing.
We've never had stickers with us on them, which is a little bit weird. Like, I can't imagine anybody who doesn't know who we are, going like, who are these people?
Yeah,
I was going like, are people not going to like them because in cartoon form, Brad and I do look like siblings?
you need to do a Spider-Verse. You need to do sort of like stickers slapping all across town, just sort of like on every lamppost.
That is something that we do that's so exciting. So every once in a while, when we get a backlog of so many stickers, we'll reach out to like comic book stores and we'll just send them boxes of stickers.
Nice.
And somebody took our stickers to Japan, and somebody's been going around Japan slapping our stickers around. So cool.
Yeah.
We would never vandalize, nor do we endorse it. But it's so cool to see our stickers out and about in the streets.
As somebody who will be in and out of the country and therefore has absolutely no qualms whatsoever about performing such illegal acts, if you want to just drop me a box, I'm certain I can take half an hour out of my day to stick around as many of the time.
We'll definitely send you a box, Leonard. And anybody watching this, if you have a comic book store and you want stickers, message us on any of those social medias that we just mentioned, and we'll send you a bunch of stickers for free.
Absolutely. And also, I've really been enjoying the best comics of 2024 so far as well. The cover, like I say, you started with this, the idea of taking from couples counseling, from siblings, from familial kind of relationships, but then you've expanded into comics blogging, interviews. Your address book is one of the most enviable when it comes to your contacts within the industry, and who you've managed to interview is just staggering to me.
We are freaking spoiled, and don't think that we don't feel like we're like, how did we?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've tricked the universe into allowing us to do what we do. You know, we're very proud of that article that we just published, the best comics of 2024 so far. This week, we are going to be publishing an article that's like the tips and tricks for surviving San Diego Comic-Con. We talked to a lot of really rad journalists and podcasters and artists and writers like Leonard.
I was about to say, and me.
People we admire, such as Leonard.
People who have lived the trenches of comic conventions and have picked up some good strategies for surviving them. So Leonard gave us some tips. We're going to include that. But we have tips from Gail Simone. We have tips from Jadzia Axelrod, Daniel Warren Johnson, you know, publicists like Greg Katzman from IDW, Shannon Meehan from Skybound. You know, Heidi McDonald from The Beat gave us some tips. David Harper from Sketched gave us some tips. This is a massive article that we're going to be putting together, and we're really, really proud of it. We still need to write it, but we think it's going to be good.
Yeah, we've collected many a quote. But
cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. And then to wrap things up, then with San Diego literally days away, do you have any expectations or anything that you would like to happen, even if it is the wildest dream?
Expectations are the enemy of a good time, so we try not to have too many expectations.
I know. That's the reason why I asked, because I'm an ass.
You know, like when people ask us, like, what are your tips and tricks for surviving Comic-Con, and the thing that we always go to first is, you just got to be open to whatever. And so, you know, expectations being an enemy of a good time. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, it's being real weird.
Being weird.
We definitely believe in expectations being an enemy of a good time.
For your salvation, sir.
Yeah. But I think like the biggest key to enjoying San Diego Comic-Con is plan, you know, find the things that you want to see, but the moment you can't see them, don't tantrum about it. Just accept it and go find something else.
Yeah.
And find something that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
And you'll discover like that thing that you normally wouldn't do is the best thing you did that year.
I would love for Jim Lee to just gift us a commission because he likes us so much. That would be great.
He's a generous chap. I don't know if he's $20,000 generous, but
he's worth every penny, in my opinion.
That has got to be one of the weirdest conversations online.
We honestly don't. We've never seen a naysayer. Like everybody who we've on our feeds is like, of course he deserves $20,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, who are the people who are mad? I haven't
He's the Michelangelo comics.
Even if he wasn't like the master artist, which like I say, I was volunteer staff 1 year, and I did the room 2. I did the how-to room, which is the artist alley room upstairs. And the last panel of the year, of the 2 years that I did, he did his Jim Lee how to draw panel, which isn't. It's basically him sketching and people in the room desperately hoping they'll get a hold of this sketch. And
we've been
to
in that
have
room.
him sort of have an empty piece of paper, start drawing, and he's just going, you know what, guys, I don't know if this is the one. This could be the one where it all just goes horribly wrong. This could be the one where it just falls off the rails. 1 second, gets a black highlighter, just boom, 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 master artwork, and you just go.
Yeah, so I would like that to be ours.
What the hell just happened?
Maria Bamford has a Fantagraphics book out. She's a comedian that I really admire. I would love for her to become my new best friend. I would like to go to a mixer and be comfortable in my own skin. You know what I mean?
Luck.
I'd really like to really succeed in mingling instead of just like going into a room full of people I admire and either 1, oversharing some medical thing, or 2, just clamming up and not being able to speak at all. So that would be great.
Yeah.
I would love to just go to a place and be actually cool. Oh, somebody clip this and send to Lee. Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll make sure this gets to him.
Jim Lee is like, of course, friends.
Yeah, we've
only never heard about you.
We've been lucky enough to meet him a couple times, and he is, as people have been saying online, like the nicest person.
So nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish all the very best for you for your San Diego Comic-Con. Again, I echo your sentiments about the best approach, which is watch a bucking bronco and watch the people who successfully ride a bucking bronco. You don't grip it too hard, don't grip it too tight, and you let the ride take you where it takes you.
And when you're thrown off and you're in the dirt, learn to love the dirt.
Absolutely. And then get a margarita or 2 and enjoy it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Spot.
I wish you all the very best for your convention. And like I say, I'm a huge fan. I want people to go and follow you at threads.net, CBCC podcast. And also, yes, again, we've had it up on the screen already, but please, comicbookcouplescounseling.com. Thank you so much indeed for doing this.
Thank you for having us. We would anytime.
And I
for when I'm not available.
Desperately hope that our paths will cross at some point. You were talking about seeing your friend, the comic fans, and your family while you're out there. You do know that if you cross paths at least early on the Thursday, you will not stop seeing them all goddamn week. It's every 20 minutes, half an hour. Are you stalking me or what? You just bloody hell. So yeah,
I do want to say one thing. Our con fam and our fan fans are completely separate. And all of those con fam people, I love them. They could care less that we have a podcast.
True.
They're impressed with like our actual family. They're impressed by us, not at all.
I have to tell the tale then of going to Ralph's on the Tuesday, where myself and the missus were getting our groceries for the week for the apartment we'd booked. At which point the person in front of us turned around and said, "Hey, are you an Englishman in San Diego?" At which point she asked for a selfie, and Caroline couldn't stop laughing.
Oh,
could not stop laughing. She found that the stupidest thing.
Dude.
Well, I appreciate, like yourself, we appreciate the people that follow and join us.
We have a friend, Brian. You're trying to end the show. I refuse.
No.
Every time a fan has asked for a photo with us, a person who recognizes us, asked for a photo with us, and our friend Brian is there. We're like, see, Brian? See? We're very cool. See, Brian?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the weirdest thing, but listen, I appreciate everyone who comes up and says hello. Even though I haven't been for a year or so, I've kind of cooled down on my socials. But I'm doing what I can to kind of still be in the frame. So I'm doing you guys are absolutely on fire, and I have nothing but love and respect and admiration for what you do. If anything, because it is some of the most quality content out there as well. And everyone should really have more comic book counseling couples counseling in their lives. So
that's
there
so
we go.
nice.
Thank you, Leonard.
Back at you.
Yeah.
Except for that last part, because that was specific.
See you in 18 days.
Yay!
Excellent stuff. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. So there you go. That is comic book counseling. Like I say, we've got ourselves, let me just bring this back on screen, because they really are an amazing follow. And if you get the chance, go and follow them online. Check out what they do. I mean, the best comics of 2024. Number one as well, they also have incredible taste, because look at the books that they've been putting forward. They also interview the greatest people. They really are just a fantastic couple. Brad and Lisa, thank you so much indeed for coming on. Right, we're going to be back with our regular Talking Con tomorrow. Our guest has dropped out again. This is getting a regular thing. But we do have plenty to talk about, so please do join me. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT for Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. Thank you so much indeed for watching today, our little incidental episode. Yes, we are going to be doing these throughout the course of the week as well. So back again on Monday at whatever time, because I'm keeping those really footloose and fancy free. Certainly tomorrow, however, I am going to be bringing you as much as I can from London Film and Comic Con. I'm heading down very early in the morning, 3 and a bit hours drive to get down to Olympia, one of my favorite locations in the world, that greenhouse, which is in Kensington, London. But no, looking forward to meeting as many people as I can there. I know Shelley Bond is looking up to seeing us, Philip Bond as well, a whole bunch of people. It's a really great comics representation at London Film and Comic Con. So very much looking forward to checking that out. We'll bring you as much as we can from that show to our episode tomorrow. Talking Con on Sundays. Hopefully we'll see you there. From me to you, from Brad and Lisa, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.